Update 1. I've been paying rent for years, but when my parents move in my golden child brother and his family for free, my mom demands I pay even more. So, I secretly move out and tell her, I don't live there. Now enjoy the freeloaders. Hey guys, it's Mason again. I wanted to update you on my situation since my last post got so much feedback. I mean, for real, thanks for the support and suggestions. I really appreciate hearing your thoughts, even from those who didn't agree with me. A lot of people mentioned that I should just move out, but honestly, I'm not quite ready for that yet. I'm still working my way through college and saving up for my future, and the thought of rent and bills just stresses me out. Now, not just the house but also my room has turned into a living zoo. I can't even explain how intrusive my brother's family is being. For example, the other day I walked into my room and found my niece's toddler bed set up in a corner. No heads up, no asking for permission, just a random bed in my space. I mean, I get the kids need a place to sleep, but I didn't sign up to be their babysitter or for my room to become their little makeshift playroom. I confronted Cam about it, and he just shrugged it off, saying it was easier for everyone. Easier for who? Not me. It gets even wilder. Just yesterday, I found Cam's wife rummaging through my things. I walked in and caught her going through my desk drawer. I mean, what gives? I felt violated, like my personal space was being invaded. When I asked her why she was doing this, she just smiled and said she was looking for a pen. A pen? Seriously? There's a whole house full of pens and a desk downstairs. Couldn't she have just asked me? It was infuriating. I didn't want to blow up over something that seemed trivial, but it felt like they were treating my room like a communal space. Later that night, I tried to rest after a long day of classes and work, hoping for some peace, but as soon as I sat down to start studying, the kids burst into my room, excitedly dragging their toys with them. I love them, but I need to focus on my schoolwork. I had to explain to them that my room was off limits, and it felt like I was talking to a wall. They just didn't get it, and Cam didn't even intervene. Instead, he just laughed it off like it was no big deal. I was frustrated that my brother wasn't even setting boundaries for his kids. The last straw came when I overheard Cam talking to our parents. I thought I could trust them, but I heard him say that I needed to be more supportive of the family during these trying times. That's when I realized they've been discussing my savings behind my back. I've been diligently saving up for my future company, and hearing him say that made my blood boil. He had the audacity to suggest that I should give him my hard-earned savings because family helps family. What the hell? When I confronted him about it, he just looked at me like I was the selfish one. He argued that with the extra expenses from having them live here, it was my duty to help out. I couldn't believe it. I've been working hard to save money for my future, and now he expects me to just hand it over because he made choices that led him to need help? It felt incredibly unfair. I refused to let him guilt trip me into giving up my dreams. At that moment, I realized I needed to set some serious boundaries. I'm not responsible for their decisions or financial troubles. I've spent years focusing on my own path, and I'm not going to let them derail my plans just because they think I owe them something. So, I took a deep breath and told Cam that I couldn't help financially and that he needed to respect my space and privacy. I hope this leads to a better understanding, but it's tough to say if it'll change anything. For now, I'm sticking to my guns and prioritizing my goals, even if it means facing more drama with my family. Update 2. So yeah, it's Mason again. I wish I had better news, but things have taken a turn for the worse. If you thought things were messy before, they've reached a new level I didn't think was possible. After my last update, the guilt tripping from my parents went from bad to absolutely unbearable. It wasn't just about paying a bit more here and there, now they were outright expecting me to hand over my savings. Apparently, my brother's payment was still nowhere to be seen, and every day they kept finding ways to corner me about helping out. Family helps family, my mom kept repeating it like it was a mantra. It was always about Cam, everything, and the constant emotional blackmail was exhausting. Then the real bomb dropped. A couple of days ago, my parents got a phone call from my brother-in-laws. I was in my room trying to block out the usual noise from Cam's kids when I heard raised voices. At first, I couldn't make out much, but the conversation quickly escalated. My mom was pacing the house, and she sounded, well, devastated. I went downstairs to see what was going on, and that's when I learned the truth, the full truth, about my brother. See, it turns out Cam had lost everything a long time ago. That big consignment he claimed was going to pay him millions? It was a lie. In reality, he had dumped all his money into a shady company months ago, and they had taken him for everything he had. The entire waiting for a payout, that's not all. He had been living with his in-laws for months, mooching off them, and when they'd had enough, they kicked him and his family out. That's when he showed up at our house, spinning more lies about his supposed success. I couldn't believe it. Part of me always suspected that his big business deal was too good to be true, but I never thought he'd go this far. Cam had literally moved in with us because he had nowhere else to go, and instead of owning up to it, he doubled down on his lies, dragging everyone, including me, into his mess. I thought my parents would be furious when they found out. I expected some kind of confrontation, maybe even for them to finally see through all the excuses Cam had been making. But instead, they were devastated in a way I had not anticipated. Rather than hold Cam accountable for his actions, they turned to me. Suddenly, the conversation wasn't about how Cam had ruined everything, it was about how I needed to step up and save the family. My dad sat me down after the call and laid it out bluntly, your brother is in trouble. Well, Mason, this is the time for you to step in and help. See, You've been saving for years, and it's your turn to give back to the family. You can always start your business later, but your brother, he needs that money now. It's that simple, really. It's crushing. I'm stuck in this impossible situation where, no matter what I do, I'm the villain of the story. If I give them my savings, everything I've worked for will just be gone, and I'll have to start over from scratch. But if I refuse, my parents will see me as a selfish, uncaring, ungrateful person. And let's be real, even if I did give Cam the money, it wouldn't fix anything. He's proven time and time again that he can't be trusted with finances, and I know, deep down, that giving him my savings wouldn't help him get back on his feet. It would just be another temporary band-aid on a problem that runs much deeper. So here I am, caught between a rock and a hard place, wondering what the hell I'm supposed to do next. My parents won't stop pressuring me, and Cam is still acting like he's done nothing wrong. Thanks again for the support. I'll keep you updated on what happens next. Final update, I've been paying rent for years, but when my parents move in my golden child brother and his family for free, my mom demands I pay even more. So, I secretly move out and tell her, I don't live there. Now enjoy the freeloaders. Today, I'm finally going to move out of my parents' house. I don't care what happens next. Hey guys, it's me, Mason, again. Maybe this is going to be the last update, I'm not sure, but I needed to get everything off my chest. As you guys know, my brother, and actually my whole family, have been complete jerks to me, and I've had enough. Mom and Dad not only forgave Cam and continue to let him stay in the house, but they also keep pestering me to pay extra and give up my savings for my big brother who always looked out for me. What the hell do they mean by that? I'm not sure, but I am sure that they're never going to change or come to their senses. Cam says he's finally serious about life and ready to take responsibility. According to him, he's come up with this new business idea with his friend and just needs a little investment, which he'll return as soon as the business takes off. I don't understand how my parents always buy into this. He might be their golden child, but to me, he's just a selfish man who cares about nothing but himself. Unable to deal with this crap any longer, I decided to just up and move out. Besides, there's something else I'm going to keep a secret for now. I feel like if I tell my family right away, they'll do anything in their power to stop it. I looked for a few studio apartments and rooms for rent, but none really fit my budget. Honestly, I needed something I could afford, along with bills and groceries, and still be able to save whatever I could for my dream company. Good news finally came yesterday. A friend of a friend, an immigrant, is also looking for a cheap apartment for rent. I thought that if he agreed to be my roommate, we could afford a small studio apartment and even share the bills and groceries. This morning, we finally met and discussed everything. The good part is, he had already found a place and needed a roommate. The place is a little far from college, but no worries, I can just walk. But this emotional turmoil and blackmail that I've been dealing with at home won't be there anymore. Tonight, I'm going to move out in secret. I can't wait to see their faces when they find out I'm gone. Let's hope this works out for the best, guys. Please wish me luck. Update, so here's the promised update about what happened after I secretly moved out. Prepare yourself, because if you're on my side, you're going to get really furious. To recap, after weeks of enduring madness at home, I decided to move out in secret. It wasn't impulsive by any means. I had been quietly searching for a place for a while, making sure it was affordable, close enough to work, and flexible with my college schedule. After some effort, I found the perfect spot, thanks to that friend of a friend who was looking for a roommate. I didn't say a word to my family about it. I knew if I so much as hinted at my plan, I'd be bombarded with guilt trips and dramatic outbursts. So I quietly set everything in motion, making sure my move was under the radar. I packed little by little, keeping my stuff hidden away in storage and in my car, waiting for the day I could leave without confrontation. I wanted out, but I didn't want the drama that would inevitably follow if I announced it. The day finally came. I had everything I needed. I signed the lease and made my way to my new place. It's not big or luxurious by any means, but it's mine, and that's all I need. The first night in my own space felt like taking a deep breath after suffocating for months. The silence, oh, it was beautiful. For the next couple of days, I continued life as usual, going to work and school as if nothing had changed. I knew it wouldn't be long before they noticed I wasn't around, but I had no intention of revealing my move until absolutely necessary. Then the inevitable happened. My mother called me one evening, complaining about some household issues and casually reminding me about the increased rent I was supposed to pitch in for. She asked where I was and why I hadn't come home for the past few days. I could almost hear the expectation in her voice, the same assumption that I would continue carrying this financial burden, as always. That's when I announced the big news. I told her calmly, I don't live there anymore. There was silence on the other end, so I added, you can enjoy the freeloaders now. The silence stretched for a moment before she exploded. She couldn't believe I had left without telling anyone. She kept going on about how I was abandoning the family and leaving them in financial ruin. She asked me how I could be so heartless, especially after everything they've done for me. She made it clear that they had been counting on my money to keep the household afloat, and now I was just bailing on them when they needed me most. But it didn't faze me. I was done. Done with the guilt trips, done with the emotional manipulation, and done with being their scapegoat. My mother tried to pile on the pressure, telling me I had betrayed the family and that they didn't know how they were going to manage without my contribution. But I stood my ground. I reminded her that I've been contributing more than my fair share for far too long, and it wasn't my fault Cam had messed up their lives. The next few days, oh, they were rough. My phone was constantly blowing up with messages from my parents, Especially my mother, who couldn't accept that I had finally stood up. She kept sending texts pleading for me to come back, followed by guilt-laden messages about how I was destroying the family. But you know what? I don't care anymore. They had it coming, and I saved myself. And that's it. But before I end this final update, let me ask you guys this. Would you have run away from your family too, if you were in my shoes?